Hello and welcome to the How of High Performance. Today's guest is someone I've had the pleasure of knowing for many years, although we've lost touch, and it's nice to be getting back in the room together, Bejay. Let me introduce you to Bejay Mulenga MBE, who's a speaker, advisor, and serial entrepreneur. Bejay, welcome. I am thrilled to have you here.
Thanks, Sally. Yes, we go a long way. Super fan of your work. I think leadership today looks very different to what it did 10 years ago, what it did 20 years ago, and I'm sure many moons ago. But there are some things that are quite significant that probably stay consistent. And I think the act of nurturing relationships is one of the superpowers that some of my favorite leaders have. So when you called, it was a pleasure to try and make this happen. And I'm very excited to read the book, see how you bring your frameworks out. And I think putting our ideas down on paper is a very, very good and profitable way to kind of make you and your business kind of stand out in today's climate.
Oh, that's very kind. And hopefully my intention is also, well, not hopefully, my intention is that I will be giving a lot of value out to people who need it more now than ever when they're in those senior serious roles. Okay, not that I can say my S's today. Before we go any further, obviously I know you, I'm a big fan of yours, equally back. But can you just give us a top line snapshot of your incredible career to date, Bejay, and just help people understand the context from where your wisdom and advice will be coming from?
Yeah, no problem. How long do I have?
Short and concise would be nice.
Yeah, cool. So we, as a family, are from Congo. Mum and dad came to Europe pretty young, 18 and 24, and they're now in their 60s. So they pretty much grew up in Europe as adults, but still brought the tradition, the values, the heritage of being Congolese over to everything they did. We're a nation of people who love to be creative and we love to work hard. And dad was a chef, mum was a SCN teacher, and I suppose being in that environment has just meant that gathering people, having food, throwing parties, and learning how to communicate were just things that were just normal to me. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur from age 10. I wanted to run a hotel. I wanted to just do a lot of things with my time. My first love at the time was running a talent show. And I bring up the story as I just turned 30 this year, and I'm now looking back at the last 15 to 18 years. And I tried my hand for the first 10 years of my career at so many different things, from talent shows to interning at magazines to starting radio shows, working festivals. And then my big moment came with setting up a tuck shop, which essentially enabled myself and other students at 14, 15 years old to earn some income, where we're coming from working class families. And I decided to franchise that out to 100 schools, got 5,000 young people trained on that program. And that inspired me to go out and 10 years ago build the UK's first pop-up market run by teenagers. Got it live streamed by MTV. We literally got River Island, Barclays, EE, and so many brands involved as sponsors. Got many no's on the way to building that as a 19-year-old, but just kept bullish on my ideas. And I then started building a bit of a portfolio of businesses I would incubate, and I would either join the founding team or work behind the scenes. So I've done a mixture of things, from being an ambassador for the Office Group Fora and help hundreds of businesses get office spaces, to start up an influencer agency, food bank in the middle of the pandemic to feed families, food festival. And at the moment, I finally found myself full circle back in food, and I've got a plant-based food business that does immersive experiences for individuals in their special moments, from weddings to hen-dos. And we also do contract catering and pop-ups in people's offices, helping to make healthy food a little less boring. So rather than just selling you a salad, we come up with our own Bombay potato salads. We have watermelon salads, and we also come up with like really fresh alternative meat options as well. So it's been going good. We've locked in the last 6 months in particular. I joined a year ago, and my co-founder is an awesome chef, and I feel like I'm now in a place where I was trying to do food stuff as a young person, selling candy. but couldn't create my own candy line. I now have the infrastructure and the team to go out and build products that I've wanted to do for a while. So people can now order brownies, cookies, juices, all from my team, refined sugar free, gluten free, and it
Amazing.
feels good. It feels good. We've managed to work with Dr. Martens and Chanel in recent months, and Lush, and yeah, I'm now starting to really double down on telling the story of Seeds of Wild, and it just feels, yeah, I'm very proud of where I've been, but I also feel so inspired of the lays of lands that I still haven't discovered and the things I still haven't done. So yeah, that's where I'm
Wow.
at.
Amazing. And in all of that, your MBE as well. How old were you when you got that?
Yeah, so the MBE, I received that would have been 27, 26, 27 when I got that. I got that for my work with entrepreneurship, helping 50,000 entrepreneurs over the last decade, and also for my work with tackling food poverty.
And like all the best, you're very humble about all your achievements and your impact thus far
Oh,
in the
thank you.
world. Well, before we go any further, because I just love from your entrepreneurial that vision from a young age, and as I hit my 51st at the weekend, still a young age from my perspective, but
Congratulations.
age is just a number. Um, how would you define the term high stakes, BJ, in a very simple human way? What's your definition of that?
Yeah, I think my definition of high stakes has got to be the moment, stroke environment that requires precision and requires clarity, as there are consequences to going left or going right, going forward or going back.
Interesting. I like that. I like that. I like that because it's very clear, but also very provocative as well. Um, Given you've tried many things, I mean, you've packed into your time already what most people don't even touch, which again is just so impressive
Thank
and
you.
no doubt has caused you to dig deep at times and hasn't all been easy sailing at all, I imagine.
No.
Can you think of a time high stakes that you've had to lead through? And can you bring that to life for us, please, BJ? But very much break down the practical how. The book is all about how.
Yeah,
How do you
absolutely.
achieve that high performance in high stakes?
Yeah, I think that I think one of the biggest high performance, high stakes thing. I'll go personal because I think business is personal.
Well, I've got
Um,
two questions. The first is business, and the second is life.
okay, great. So we it was a business and life. We can do life as well. I
Okay.
have a lot to say in life, but this was high stakes in business for me. So business, I was 23. My cousin committed suicide. We were very close. He
Gosh.
passed away in Brazil, and I was in the middle of a tour. I was with Facebook Meta at the time, and we were doing digital skills training across Britain, 100 locations, and I had a crew of coaches working with me, anywhere from Yorkshire to Suffolk to New Forest, Bath, and there wasn't time to take the time off properly. And as I'd been building my business and I had employed family members and friends, and I'd always kept a mentorship element with other people from my neighborhood, I think it was important for me to be very forward with people that I was working with, and just start leaning in with how I felt. Be like, you know what, we're gonna do what we need to do at work, but I'm not feeling up for it today, so I'm gonna take this time. I'm going to go for therapy. There'd been a bunch of people that passed before, but this was a significant thing for me as I was like, I don't have all the tools to deal with this.
Yeah.
And it just opened up a new caveat for me where as I was having conversations with my team, my leadership team, I was employing quite a few people a bit older than me, and I had people opening up to me about losing their parents, people opening up to me about miscarriages, and it created a different bond between the team. And they always talk about making work and leadership more human, and I think moments like that where the job's not done, we still have to do stuff. There were people that they're going through life sequences, but we now created a subculture within the culture where people could be given space, they could be given empathy, and they could also work with each other with how they best show up and pick up each other's slack. So I think that was quite important as we were having a very massive year in 2019, and it was very important for us to just really continue hitting home. But I was very proud that my team were able to give me space to let things breathe as I needed it at the time.
Wow, that's I'm sorry for your loss, and that's incredibly powerful. So thank you for sharing that, and especially when that really has come. I mean, gosh, there's you never want something like that to happen, but when it comes at a time when you're under the cosh and you don't have this natural space, oh, I'm not coming in today. You do. Obviously, you've always got that choice, but equally, there's a lot of high stakes, not just for you, but for people you cared about at the time, both in work and in family.
Yeah.
Especially if you're employing family as well.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Really, really blended mix. So if you were to help us just maybe look at the three things you did as that entrepreneur and that leader in that specific situation, I'm hearing that you acknowledged how you were feeling, you shared it with other people authentically, you did create space that you could and also accepted what you couldn't change at that time, or you chose, rather, reframe that, you chose not to change, and you got help for the right tools.
That's it.
Anything else you'd add to that in terms of how you navigated that situation as the senior leader?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the first one. I think the seeking the tools and acknowledging it, like the symbiotic, and I think the going to find content from people who had experienced loss, who had overcome, was quite powerful. So I watch a lot of content on YouTube in particular, where I can find myself in hours and hours watching documentaries, and there wasn't one documentary in particular, but I'll say there's like quite a few different stories of people who had lost people, people who were going for counselling, people who were trying to re-find family members that they were parted away from, and those kind of stories for me always give me excitement around that this too shall pass, that there's going to be another day, and I think that gave me the confidence to talk, because a lot of them, the recurring theme was having people to commune with. So when I started to break bread and host people together in a little breakfast or a little dinner and have conversation, because this wasn't about us sitting on Zoom, it was very much IRL stuff. I think people started to feel heard, and that became like an open door for everyone, really. So yeah, that for me is probably mission. Yeah, is that making that space?
That's really powerful. So looking at this, because my questions will normally be, give me one around business and give me one about life completely outside of business, and you've wonderfully given me the perfect hybrid of both.
Yeah, I can give you some other. Like, I've got so much to say, because when you put yourself out there, I can talk about life as well if you want. There's other life bits to go down.
Yeah, let's do. I think that's one of the most powerful life things one can ever navigate, to be honest. So I think in service of the book and the messaging of this, because I think that's nailed it. I mean, what again, tragic thing to do, but how brave, how you shared, how you coped with that. And I think that can give people inspiration and practical steps to deal with significant change that might impact you beyond anything else. If we then look purely at the business side, when you're leading, because you've had a lot of success, and I'm sure you've had a lot of failure as well, because brave people have to get over failure to have the successes. Can you give us a high stakes moment as you've been building your businesses, maybe from before, maybe right now, where you've had a high stakes leadership moment as that founder entrepreneur, and how you've practically navigated through that?
You know what? There's some scars that are still too fresh to open up, because it's been a very tough pandemic period. I still call it the pandemic, even though it's 5 years on. But for me, it's the market is very hard, and I've seen so many friends' businesses close down. People losing like really great high stake jobs, and that's not been easy. But I also see a lot of opportunity and a lot of excitement and a lot of people breaking bridges. So there are some stuff that I think I have processed and ready to talk about, and I think it'll come throughout the conversation. But when you asked that question, I felt important to say that to start off. And the thing that it brings me to is something that happened also not this weekend, but the weekend before, so very fresh.
Oh, very
Um,
recent. Yeah.
we, as a small business, did our first wedding in less than 4 months, and it was in a venue that was just reopening and didn't have the right infrastructure for kitchens. So we were learning on our feet, even though my co-founders got years of experience in the kitchen, I've got experiences in the food industry. We were working with certain hire companies for the first time. We were having to upscale our freelance waiting and bar team, pull together a team of 25 to work on the day. We served 200 people on the day. Now me and my co-founder drive, so we've upgraded one of our recurring waiters into our driver. We're hiring vans. We had to do a deal with a local restaurant to hire out their space for the day before the wedding, so that we could be preparing food close by, as the kitchen that we was provided at the venue wasn't to the standard we needed to prepare for 200 people. Then so that's all happening and it's sunny, but we're having to like bring food up in big trolleys
Gosh.
from the venue up the park, because it's in the middle of the park where the venue is so beautifully situated. The person we've been dealing with for weeks is not picking up the phone. Where different persons opening the door on the Friday and closing on the Friday, different persons opening on the Saturday morning. It then rains,
Oh
so the
God.
whole floor plan that we've made for the wedding, because there's going to be outdoor and indoor, like our crew that have arrived in, who are private chefs and the waiters who are supporting early before production goes live at 11, rather than going into prep mode with the list we've made, we have to go into plan B, and they now have to like rechange the room, manually build a marquee, so
And then, and
eating
on.
into time, but we
Yeah.
got the food delivered on time. The couple were happy. People loved the food. But behind the scenes, when you talk about high stakes chaos or things that could have just throw you off, like any food going off, and be having a health and
It's
standard
health and
issue,
safety,
yeah,
isn't it?
health and
Well,
standard
like,
issue. Any staff. I had a staff member that was asking to move stuff, and he's got a pacer, so he was like had to tell me that, oh, I can't actually lift heavy stuff. So you having to like. Then we have an employee who has neurotypical, and he's currently got medication for ADHD, and he's having a little panic attack and went to leave work early. So you're just navigating a lot of things behind the scenes, but the show must go on, and the people in the room had a great time. This is a high ticket piece of work for us. This is not a £500 or £100 booking. This is deep five figures
oh,
type
someone's
booking.
wedding.
Someone's wedding. And we're stepping in, and there's no wedding planner, so we're stepping in, and we are now becoming the project managers and firefighting. But all said, all done, got to the end of the day, everyone high fived each other. Good job. No one's hurt. All allergens were fine. Everyone was happy. The music was off, and the sun even came out for us after 3 o'clock. So yeah, the video came out a week later, and just looking back at it, it's just so proud. It's still very fresh, and
For
that
you.
is an example of a very, very, very high stakes scenario in the catering world that I'm facing right now, where especially when you're curating for hundreds of people.
And how did you stay calm in that situation? Because obviously you've got your co-founder,
Yeah,
the buck stops with you guys.
yeah, yeah. I love this
What
stuff.
techniques?
I've been doing this for years. Like I started the
But what
talent
did you use?
shows.
What are your little muscles or your techniques
I
that, because
think,
everyone can relate to that in their own situation, I think, their
yeah.
equivalent of the wedding and
Would
the
you would you would you
kitchen.
would you say that sounds like it was a bit of a stress? Did it sound stressful? The story I told you. Yeah,
It does
no.
sound stressful. I used to work in hospitality many, many years ago, so I get it.
Yeah. No, I love it. 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 It is intense. I think the frameworks I used was a couple. One of them was working on just communicating very simply, jobs to be done. That's one.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, it's so easy for people to shout, people to just do it yourself, but it's like you need to communicate because there's bodies around, and actually that's number one. Number two, ask for help. The couple kept saying to us weeks, if you need anything, let us know. Need anything, let us know. It's like, nah, you not just relax. Nah. Certain times they're like, yeah, I do actually. Can you get like some of the men, some of your groomsmen, some of your to help move these tables? Because we now need to like empty out the dinner hall and make a dance floor. And I don't have my 25 people is not even enough because half of them are in the kitchen. So 12 is not enough. We need And they're like, yeah, no problem. All of a sudden, the army generated and rooms cleared like within minutes. So it's like, don't be afraid to ask, because like knowing when to ask and how to ask. Um, and then the next one, adapt. Sometimes you ask and the person doesn't get it. So, how can you do this? And you, right, let's just let me show them. But don't be afraid to adapt as well. Like it's so important to just adapt. Then I would say celebrate and encourage. You see a flicker of a light in someone, and mate, thank you for doing that. I'd be thankful. That's great. Keep doing that. Do you need anything? Like they've asked me, do you need anything? So like we just each one teach one. We all. That's how you start feeling the momentum and the pace and optimism, and that starts stacking. And all of a sudden, things start moving. And then the creme de la creme thing to finish it off is music, vibration. Vibration is like, yo, if
Yeah,
you're sat there and it's dark energy, it's like it's contagious. Like, so I was like telling the DJ, even though it wasn't the main time, to put the music on, put some music on. Like my team can't be working in silence. Like, put some music on. We need rhythms.
I love
And
that.
that
Do
helps.
you know what? They are so universal to anybody leading through high stakes, because high stakes really does is that situation because it's unpredictable, and that's what makes the situation high stakes. It's unpredictable, it's new, and as you said, you've got to be in the moment, ahead of the moment, adapting, catching the moment that just went. So I think they're really great universal truths. If you look at all of your career now, BJ, and all the different communities, and you've been so humble, you've not even touched the surface of your success, but all the communities that you've inspired, curated, served, be that non for profit, be that commercially, what would be those universal lessons from your overall entrepreneurial business experience that you can share that particularly are targeted at fellow seniors, seasoned people, no matter what age, because age doesn't mean experience or seasoned, does it?
Mm,
People who are not at the beginning of their seniority as a leader, they want to know how to excel when they're in that real C-suite equivalent, top job, founder.
yeah.
What would be your key lessons for navigating high stakes?
Good question. I think key lesson for navigating high stakes is um, journaling. Like so important. Like let's understand what's going on. What's actually going on. You know, before taking action, we need to know what what are the metrics. You know, what are the components. What are the levers? Like different words will relate for different people, but really knowing what are the things that have got us here. And if you can't do too much of a deep analysis, what is going on? You know, why? How did we get here? What's going on? Because if you're going to make a decision on future, at least you've now got a landscape on. Okay, these are the things that have caused this. So maybe we can either change, invest, or improve things that are these inputs, or we can actually block, finish, close, remove. You can take action. But data is something that I feel like some leaders sometimes don't tap into. You know, it's stuff we all know, we all hear, we see others do, but are we being disciplined enough? So, observation and journaling is one. Number two would be making a almost like a sprint for yourself. You know, like sometimes you need to just kill the cancer. You need to attack the beast. You need to whatever you want to call it, but you need to take action. And taking action can be very overwhelming in a crisis mode, can be very overwhelming in high stake mode. And I think if you can take action whilst like knowing what some milestones are, that could actually improve the situation or help you get to the place you want to get to. I think that gives your team confidence. And confidence is a very big thing when building on momentum, when getting to do something that you didn't think was possible or something that feels out of reach. And confidence comes from action,
Nice.
small action taken all the time. And also, confidence comes from seeing as well, which is why the last point would be reading, read, and read. Like, what can we learn from another market, another business, a coach, a mentor, like ask the team to all submit suggestions of what we could do in a situation, you know, co-create together and then read. Like don't just like execute your idea, and that will help you make a better decision. I think those will be the things I think if every leader did. I think high stakes will be more enjoyable, and you'll be looking at it in just a different way. It'll be like, this is an experiment we're running. This is something we're doing for 2 weeks, something we're doing for 4 weeks. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it's not the only thing we're doing, you know? And if it is the only thing we're doing, there's a cut point, there's a time of reflection.
Definitely. And it's interesting, BJ, because for me, high stakes is exhilarating, thrilling, opportunity, growth. But because it's what I specialize in, and help people navigate through that with high performers who want to be better. But it's so interesting when you ask people about high stakes, how often people have a negative connotation around the phrase. And I find that really interesting because I think it's down to your personal experience, your bias. And also, let's be really honest, not everyone likes high stakes because of what they are. There's always a jeopardy that comes with high stakes.
Yeah.
But I think you're giving brilliant practical, which is why I love what you're sharing, just practical, really helpful, easy to implement. Well, two things actually. Easy in theory to implement, but challenging to get the discipline to implement well.
Yeah.
So if I was to say, BJ, which I'm about to, you can only have one piece of advice. So if you're talking to fellow, as I said, same audience, seasoned success. I can't do the S's, can I? Successful people.
Yeah.
And I said, right, just one piece of advice from BJ, from all of your experience and your ambition to come. What would your killer practical how to lead through high stakes piece of advice be, please?
My piece of advice doesn't have to be a sentence. It can be a paragraph.
No, it's just one key practical how to lead well through high stakes. A nugget.
So I would say learn to be malleable to opportunity. And take that and harness your internal power to be more audacious and more empathetic.
Love that.
I think one person did that. That would be that in loads of contexts could help you a lot. Malleable, right? Cool. This is what I got. Okay, cool, nice. And then it's like we're going to be audacious, but we're going to keep heart. So
malleable, audacity, heart.
Yeah. Heart, aka empathy. But,
yeah.
It's a little mix,
I think that's really, again, as you've done beautifully throughout our whole conversation, beautifully simple, but really, really effing powerful.
Thank you.
Bejay, you have been an incredible guest, as I knew you would be. Thank you for your honesty, your openness, your soul, and sharing your wisdom. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys. And look, the phrase I'm enjoying at the moment is "this too shall pass." Good times, this too shall pass. Bad times, this too shall pass. Stay in the game, enjoy, and tap into mine and Sally's work.
Brilliant. Thank you.